Hello, it's Kelly here. Welcome to my FlossTube channel, Animal Instinct. I'm back for another cross-stitching update on today, Friday, the 20th of November, 2020. I didn't think I'd be filming today, but it's been a crazy few days here in Adelaide, South Australia, so here I am. I've got all the usuals. I'm not as organised as normal though. There is stuff all around me. I've got whips, I've got some finishes, a new start, some haul and some plans. So we'll see how we go. There isn't any rhyme or reason to how I've set up. I guess a little bit of a life update. Like I said, I'm in Adelaide, South Australia, and today's Friday. On Saturday just gone, I had my 2 weeks holiday leave from work and I set off. I drove down to Mount Gambier in our state's southeast, where I was planning to have a 2-week holiday in that region. And then on, I guess over that weekend, there were some reports of COVID cases in Adelaide, and we have really barely been touched by COVID. We're very, very lucky here. I don't think there's been community cases since April, but all of a sudden things happened. They escalated really quickly, and on Wednesday afternoon there was an order that midnight that night there was going to be a statewide lockdown for 6 days, and you wouldn't be permitted to leave your house except to purchase food or seek medical help. So I had to decide really quickly if I wanted to stay in Mount Gambier where I was, sleeping in the annex of a caravan on a blow-up mattress and not actually being able to leave the caravan for a week except to go and buy food once a day, or if I'd be happier at home. And I decided to come home. I was actually having a trip away with my parents. It was their caravan, so they also decided they preferred to come home. So we raced home on Wednesday afternoon, got home very late Wednesday night. Lockdown started midnight, and what day is it today? Friday. They've just announced today that the reason the lockdown was ordered was based on information provided by positive cases, and one in particular has found to be having lied to officials about their circumstances. And while there are active cases, and there is definitely a cluster of cases in Adelaide, which is highly unusual, they may not have needed to go to the lockdown if this person had been truthful. So mine is just a holiday that's been inconveniently cancelled. That's fine, but I really do feel for all the businesses across South Australia that have lost out on revenue and they had to throw out a lot of goods. It's a crazy, crazy situation. But anyway, enough about that. I am home and I have been stitching, so let's get into it. Where do I even start? Let's go with, I think this is a new start since last video. This is Twin Peaks by Country Magic Stitch. Actually, I'll just pull it up on my iPad. I think this is going to be a pretty casual video and I probably won't do any editing. If you've got any questions about anything that I talk about, just ask and I'll let you know. So this one is going to be Twin Peaks by Country Magic Stitch. I bought this off of Etsy. Sorry, super prepared. Oh, what a crazy day. This one. So I made a very small start in the top left corner, doing it on 28 count easy count Lugana, 2/1 tent stitch. There's very few colors in this one, so like lots of block colors. I think it's going to look good, and the tent stitch makes it stitch up really quickly, especially because there's not too much confetti. So that one. Oh, there'll be no cats visiting today. They're in boarding because I was supposed to be away for about almost 2 weeks. During the lockdown, basically going to collect them didn't meet the criteria. They're being well cared for and it wasn't an emergency. So I thought I was going to have 6 days here alone without them, but as it turns out, they are changing the rules, and as of midnight tomorrow night, lockdown is no longer and I can go and get them. So yes, I'll be very happy to see them. I finished this one today while I was watching the press conference. It's kind of fitting. Jaeger and Yarns, I think they've called it 2020, but I've been calling it Loo paper. It's stitched on 28 count opal casual linen, just with 3 DMC colours, 2/2. Nice simple stitch, and that's going to go onto my Be Well and Stitch little mini quilt when I get around to putting that together. Did I say what the fabric was called? Amatentia by Chromatic Alchemy. Not my normal style, but it looks pretty cool, gotta admit. While I was away on my short little holiday, I got my temperature tree up to date. So this is by the Stitching Mummy. You can buy the chart on Etsy, and the colour of each leaf represents the maximum temperature in Adelaide on that day. It's current up until the 15th of November. So only really 6 weeks to go till the end of the year. Incredible. I did think we'd have more yellows and reds and oranges already, but we're definitely heading into the warmer days. But really liking how that's coming along. Another whip, I put a little bit more into my mini Contessa and Squid artwork by Omar Ryan, and it's charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. And I think I mentioned last time I've got the mini version, which is a lot smaller than the original, and I just want to make sure I'm happy with the level of detail in her face, and I think it's going to be fine. She's looking good. Here's the hand behind. So again, 28 count, easy count Lugana, but this one is 1/1 full crosses. I've had more experience stitching on 25 count 1/1, so I wanted to give this a go, and it's noticeably smaller. Like, you wouldn't think 25 to 28 would, you know, be very different, but it really is. So that's coming along nicely. Now, not last weekend, but the weekend before was the 24 hours of cross stitch, and I organised to catch up with Deb Wilson. You must find her on FlossTube and Instagram. She's wonderful. And we are stitching the Snowflower Diaries Joyful World series. And I think I showed last time, this was my only block that I'd completed. And it's on Heartland 18 count Ada. It's Picture This Plus, 1/1 DMC. I think I said again last time that I sort of struggled with the coverage. I didn't think 1 was enough. I thought 2 strands of thread was too heavy, bulky. So I went back to 1, and I am happy with how that turned out. But during the 24 hours of cross stitch, Deb and I started and finished the October block. Very cute. So it's on the same piece of fabric. And then since I've been away, I started November, and I need to get this done by the end of the month. And peacock. That's coming along nicely. Also, so once I finished the October block during 24 hours of cross stitch, I took out Seeking Refuge. Again, I'm pretty sure I showed last time. So I started this one in March. I think it came out in March. And then I kind of had hardly done anything. I think I'd done sort of like maybe that. And then it went away. And then I pulled it out recently and decided it was very apt for this year and that I wanted to finish it this year. So I've put a lot of time in over the last, maybe month. And I got a long way during the 24 hours. And then while I was away, I finished it. So this one's stitched on 40 count Picture This Plus Wren. Oh, it needs an iron. But I'm really happy with the finish. The colours are based on what was charted, but they're all different except for DMC 310. I've got DMC, Anchor, Colour and Cotton, Silks for You, and Weeks Dye Works, I think that covers it. Just a whole mishmash. In the pattern, the red in the brick and the red on the berries and flowers was all the same thread, but I found two that were slightly different. I thought this one was a bit more reddy brown for bricks, and this was more sort of berry coloured. The small little text there, it did have initials and then it said her work in the year 2020, whatever year you finish it. I decided to rechart that as a bit of a memory piece to this year. So during this year of the pandemic, 2020, the chart recommended you stitch that small text 1/1 tent stitch, but I didn't really like the way it looked on the 40 count linen, so they're actually 1/1 full crosses, which are fine to stitch but not good when you need to frog, which I did several times. The chimney, that chimney for some reason just didn't want to play ball. There is actually still a little error, well, personalization in it. And in the end, rather than unpicking everything, I just decided to make both chimneys one stitch wider than they were charted. And I mean, you would never know just to look at it. Yeah, I'm really happy to have finished that one. It's really warm in here. I haven't got the aircon on because it's a bit loud, but it's I don't know, 32 or something outside. Okay, what else? So I finished that toilet paper one earlier today, and I've just felt really, I mean, I was fine about the lockdown. I was supportive of it, very much so, but just a bit thrown by having to come home and then finding out that it's going to be canned in tomorrow night. It's just been, yeah, a bit nuts. So I just decided I needed to have a new start, and I'll probably have a few new starts over the next few days. I'm going to stay off work for next week. I'm home, but I could go back to work, but I'm just going to enjoy my break. So the new start that I've actually started today, it's a freebie. It's this one, Quiet Please Cross Stitcher at Work. Now to find this one, just Google Quiet Please Cross Stitcher at Work and you'll come across this blog, but it's needleprint.blogspot.com. And it just says, I mean, people probably know all about this, I'm not sure, but I found it ages ago and I just bookmarked it. It says, I had a lovely email from Anna who started designing. She's offering this chart as a freebie. So it's by Anna. If anyone knows anything more, feel free to share. I'm going to stitch it on, well, I've started stitching it on XG Designs, 32 count Belfast linen in chalkboard. That's pretty good. And the floss I'm using is Sulky. I showed this a little while ago. I wanted to try out the Sulky 12 weight thread. This is 4010. So I'm just using one strand of thread. Tiny little start, but I just had to do it. So I think that'll look really nice. I'm gonna have slightly tight borders on the edges, but it'll be fine. What else? So I was away for, I don't know, 3 or 4 days, and I had someone coming to pick up my mail, but I was pretty happy when I got home. Wednesday night was a really long day. Got home at, I think it was almost 10 p.m. after a 5.5 hour drive home from Mount Gambier. Anyway, there was a parcel on my front doorstep that my friend hadn't picked up yet. So that was pretty nice to come home to. Nothing too exciting, a bundle of DMC and some, whoops, bobbins. It's amazing, you think you've got like every DMC and you want to go to start a new chart and there's always some you don't have. I also got a piece of 32 count antique white Lugana, and that is going to be a restart of this one that I showed last time. The John Clayton collection, the cricket scene. So my mum started this in the 90s, I think. It's got a date on there. Anyway, this was her start. She made a great start, but it's filthy now, and you know, I think I showed that last time. There's a rusty needle in it. So I just decided to start fresh. So that might be a new start this week. We'll see. What else? I've got some other, like I just grabbed a heap of things that were kitted up that I would like to start. So this is another possibility. Oh, I forgot one. Whoops. Well. This one is Mother of the Ocean by the Primitive Hair. And I have a piece of it's 32 count Jobelin, maybe. It's Gold Digger Old Map style from Colour Cascade Fabrics. I think that would probably work well. So that's one I'd like to start. I'd also like to start this one that I got off of Stash Unload recently, the Napping Kitten Gold Collection Petites. maybe. And I've got the two in the 2B patterns from Nora Corbett. That's Miss Honeybee, and I'll get into this one. It's just going to be crinkly, sorry. Miss Queen Bee. So there's the two together. I actually I didn't realise I've got the same fabric as I just showed for the whale, the primitive hairpiece. I think it's the same. Interesting. Let me just open it again, crinkle. So they are both 32 count. Anyone's wondering what the difference is, they're both 32 count Jobelin. They're both Gold Digger by Colour Cascade Fabrics. This one is old map style, Gold Digger old map style. And this one is just Gold Digger. This one is much more orange. It's not really showing very well. And this one is much lighter. So that's the whale, and that's the Miss Queen Bee and Miss Honeybee. Speaking of bees, my big bee piece that is being framed, I should probably be expecting to get that back in the next week, I think. I wasn't sure because of the lockdown, but now there's no lockdown, so hopefully I'll get a phone call next week. So yeah, either of the two bees. And then the last one I pulled out as a possible start was Just Nan's Heather's Hedgehog House. So next time I film, there'll definitely be some new starts. I'm just not entirely sure which ones they'll be. Really looking forward to this weekend is the Mittagong Stitches Retreat. So I was supposed to be away and I was a bit, I guess, worried about how I'd connect in because it's a virtual retreat, given that I'm staying in a caravan and, you know, close quarters with other people. But I'm home, so I've got plenty of free time, even no cats to bother me. So really looking forward to catching up with everyone. There are a heap of events and challenges throughout the weekend. So all of those possible new starts might not happen because I want to have a go and see how many different competitions I can enter. So yes, it'll be a fun few days, and yeah, I think that's everything. Yep, sorry for the slightly frazzled video today. Like I said, if you've got questions about anything, just ask and I'll let you know. I just think I'm probably not going to worry about editing too much today. And hopefully we'll see you soon. What I have been thinking about is putting together my sort of goals / plans for next year into a video. And I surprised myself by having had more finishes this year than I realised. So I might do a finish parade maybe in that week between Christmas and New Year's Eve, and definitely a whip parade as well. So I hope you're all well, stay safe, happy stitching, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.